Welcome back to the Yard of Bricks. Last year, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway made its Integrity Ignite Series debut to much fanfare. It was one of the most thrilling races on the schedule, and without a doubt, we're excited to have it return. Just before our Easter break, we're live again on FTN Broadcasting with coverage of the 2025 Integrity Ignite Series. Tonight, of course, Speedway, Indiana's finest, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a 2.5-mile circuit that challenges drivers unlike any other. As it stands, we have just under 50 drivers registered for one of our biggest circuits on the season. Much like we saw at Daytona, a 250-mile spectacle with the potential to go further in overtime. It's going to be a long race that comes down to strategy and attrition, and every driver knows that if you want to make your mark in the opening third of the schedule, tonight is the night. Welcome back on Commentating and producing live on FTN here. As we get things going, qualifying is on the move, so let's take a look downstairs to the racing circuit, and you'll see Michael Araya alongside many of your championship challengers. Of course, fresh off a final victory at long last, Thomas Bressy getting himself to the top of the board. He leads the championship standings. Last week, we saw two first-time podium sitters. One of them just grabbed the provisional pole. That is Cole Fralick up to the top of the board by a full 1/10 of a second. He finished P2 last night. Bressy looking a little bit different, but he's still with Exalta, and he's still in the 24. Shades of Jeff Gordon tonight for Bressy. He finds himself now qualified second. Matt Press is going to be third. Blake Cannon has now scored fourth after his run, and so far it looks like about 42 drivers have taken a lap, at least one so far. At the top of the board remains Fralick, though, after that last run. He is still on top, and it looks like he's there convincingly now. A full 1/10 of a second over the rest of the field indicates it's going to take a while and a lot of effort for someone to get up there and match him. Coming across the line, Ethan Lane for his second and final lap goes P2, but even Lane is not able to get up there to Cole Fralick. He halves the gap, but the gap still remains. It's a 45,000th of a second difference for the Lane machine, and now he's second. Thomas Bressy going in third on the grid. 47 drivers have taken a time now, and there's one of the last of which, Paul Mikolajczyk in the number 77. Hunter Madalenis will come across the line. There's the 07, and as Hunter does so, he's currently 29th. He has one more lap and a multi-time race winner already. Hunter finds himself in a hot stretch for a rookie driver. He's been making it up the championship ladder week in, week out, and he's got a real shot in his first career season at that title victory if he keeps up the pace he's been working at. Currently, Hunter finds himself fifth in the championship standings, and he is slowly but surely making it up there. He has 2 wins on the calendar so far. Only he and Blake Cannon can testify to that claim, and of course, Madalenis, in his first ever season, is still building that expertise and gaining that experience. What he won't be able to do is finish his second and final lap. Qualifying has concluded, and Cole Fralick, fresh off his career best run, finds himself at the top of the board. He's got the pole position, and now we're going to take a look at the drivers from top to bottom in your lineup. 49 drivers have registered for this race. It's a big field, and it's going to be all about the action from beginning to end for these drivers. They're all lining up on pit road now for their final chance at taking a few laps. 5-minute warm-up session, and then we go racing. With that said, your familiar faces are again at the front of the board, but tonight, one who, of course, shined last week is looking to do so again. As we take a look now at your starting grid, it'll be inside of row number 1. That's the number 15. Cole Fralick finds himself at the pole position, and Ethan Lane will take second place in the number 6. Thomas Bressy, championship leader now with a 59-point advantage over Blake Cannon. He's got himself P2 on the board with Matt Press 4th place in qualifying. Press, another one of those strong rookies, 12th in the title standings after a race filled with setbacks last week. Blake Cannon is second in title race, and of course he still has a big chance to make that gap a little bit tighter between he and Thomas Bressi. He will start tonight in 5th, and Don Stevenson, ever the surprise. Sometimes he goes from the back to the front, sometimes the other way around. He's looking to do neither of which and stay up front all night long as he qualifies in 6th place, and 7th place then goes Matthew Thunhorst in the number 8 spot. Funny, you've got Matthew Thunhorst and Justin Morton, numbers 8 and 9 when it comes to their car numbers. They're 7th and 8th in qualifying. Michael O'Raya is officially P9, and Ronnie Osmer rounds out the top 10 with Blake Gordon then in 11th and Braxton Deweese in 12th place. 13th place goes Michael Stroll. Elliot Henderson is going to be 14th with Nick Tarbuck and Nicholas Ward 15th and 16th. Ward on a little bit of a hot stretch as of late in both series. Of course, fresh off his first ever Octane win, and 2 weeks ago, his first ever Ignite podium. Just after the two Nicks, you'll have Tyler Hensley 17th, and Vinny Tigner comes back for 18th place. Adam Wood is 19th, and it'll be Jack Drucker rounding out the top 20. Rob Ackley's 21st with Brent McClendon 22nd, Sebastian Miller 23rd, and Jared Davis 24th place. P25 on the order, Chad Mikas, and Cody Smith goes 26th. DJ Stagner is going to be 27th on the lineup, and you'll have Jacob Fife 28th, Hunter Mataletis and Sam Nieto round out the top 30. For the top 35, you'll then and there have the following drivers: Jake Miller, Ryan Potter, Casey Shue, Joe Dinsmore, and Gael Brooks. From 36th to 40th, you'll have Josh Christman, and then you'll have 37th Daniel Foss, Gavin Fitzgerald 38th, Brandon Bernhardt 39th, and Calvin Filarski for 40th. Further on back, Boomer Logan, Kyle Cooper, and you'll have Tom Wetmore, Andrew Hamilton, Will Reichard for 45th. Lastly, Brian McFerrin 46th, Josh Gallagher 47th, 48th is Steve Durham, and the final of all drivers is a driver coming off of his career best finish. From 3rd last week, Paul Mikolajczyk qualifies 49th tonight in the Brickyard. And yes, all 49 drivers took a time in qualifying, and Paul finds himself the only of which outside of the sub-53 range. He's got a lot of work to do tonight, Paul does, but those front runners, including his podium mate last week, Cole Freilich, are in a much better spot. And how can we, of course, discount Thomas Bressi? Bressi's been running red hot as of late. The consistency's been one thing. Finally getting to victory lane is another. And I think that for Bressi, the latter of those two is the most important thing. Thomas Bressi has been so good consistently year after year in the Ignite series. But for him, what matters is victory. That's what sparks the drive to go out there and win races. And I think he knows that more than anything else. If he wants to find success, he has to be the driver who puts things into play as a race winner more than anything else. That's how he's succeeded so far, and that's how he's hoping to do so once again. You got to remember last year he was in the thick of the fight here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It would have just come away, in fact, with the checkered flag. It was a tight fight, and he found himself at the front of it until the bitter end. 100 laps of racing here tonight, as it was last year, so a very similar predicament for all drivers involved. And it looks like with Bressi having that experience, qualifying 3rd ain't half bad. But at the top of the board for this session is a man who qualified 43rd. That's Tom Wetmore in the 69. A lot of work to do from here for Tom, but rest assured, the 69 machine has a plan, and it looks like he's quick in final practice. And with how competitive the times are, it's no wonder Wetmore fell back. It's not to say that he ran a bad lap, but let's put it into perspective here. According to our qualifying metrics, 23 drivers ran within 3/10 of your pole sitter. And again, Cole Freilich put 43 thousandths of a second up on Ethan Lane. He made his own gap, and the rest of the field had to follow. Now with everyone coming together, rather cloudy skies in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Visibility is not limited, but it's going to be rather dim overall with an ambient temperature of 66 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temp comes in at 77 degrees, and the winds are westbound at 12 miles an hour. Relative humidity is the biggest of deals tonight. Not enough to be foggy, but it will be enough to make some heat, make some warmth. As it stands, 77%, so it could get a little bit slick on circuit earlier than anticipated. Keep that in mind. Might be one of the defining factors of a race like this. Cole Fralick, Ethan Lane lined up together. Keep in mind, of course, Ethan Lane in a different position. He finds himself running up in front, but he's got his ambitions on a part-time campaign on the Monday nights. Full focus again on avenging what was a title loss by forfeit last year in the Octane Series. Again, he came away with 14 wins and did so in one of the most dominant seasons we have ever seen. Of course, he had to forfeit to chase the idea and the goal of making it to the NASCAR Coke Series. Here, the top level of sim racing on iRacing. And Lane qualified, but he's back here again with the Integrity Racing League, and he's giving it a second full shot. We love having him here. Pro-level competition for these guys, but so far, he has not been as dominant as he was in 2024, at least to this point in the season. That's the exciting thing. The entire field has met him as their match. That's made the racing that much better. No one driver is able to get away as the top dog in the Integrity Racing League. At least it's not easy to be that guy. The Octane Series was a little bit of a different story last year. We saw two 10-time winners, 10 wins or above, in fact. But when it comes to the Integrity Ignite Series, parity has been its forte. We saw 11 different winners in the first 14 races last year. And in similar fashion, we only have two-time winners to this point. Looking at victories so far, we've got 6 drivers with wins in the opening 8 completed races. Good numbers for parity's sake. That's going to help out these drivers who might not always be the quickest and most consistent. There's always a shot at victory if you prepare yourself right. The Indianapolis Aces, though, based on our history, are at the front of the board. Lane fought for the victory here in the Octane Series. Bressy did last year in the Ignite Series. And Cole Fralick, I think he's just running hot after another great performance on Monday night. That was last Monday, though, and if he wants to go for 2 more, well, it starts tonight to finish off the first stint of the season. The iRacing official pace car will let low and let loose. Cole Fralick will be on the inside, and on the outside line will be Ethan Lane. Time to bring the best of the best back to speed in Speedway, Indiana. Green flag flies, Fralick toe-to-toe with Ethan Lane, and as they come through for the green flag, we are underway from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Welcome to the Brickyard 250. Across the line, Cole Fralick at the top of the board. So let's get back to business here in the Integrity Racing League. Last time we went racing, which was on Tuesday night, it was another 250-miler at the Darlington Raceway. And I'll tell you this much, that was a long one. 183 laps on the day at the 1.33-mile circuit. A little bit different than what you're seeing tonight here with the drivers at Indy, a track which is bigger and provides a lot more of that racing room. Drivers shouldn't concern themselves all too much with the number of laps, but more so the pace of the circuit. 100 laps can go by rather quick at Indy if you plan things out correct. Of course, right behind now, Cole Fralick is Ethan Lane. You'll have Matt Press running in third place here. Press looking to get himself back up in the single digits of points. Top 10 he was for the opening 7 races of the season, but after last week, he fell down to the 12th place. Lowest spot he's been in as of yet. A rookie in the number 60 who has been able to flash and stuff in the upper mid-pack so far, getting a real chance to show himself at the absolute front. Not an opportunity that comes up every week, but by virtue of a strong qualifying performance, he's up 1 on the day already, getting himself up into third place for 4th in qualifying. Further back, things are tight as well. Elliott Henderson going side by side. You'll see it there for about the 15th position. Michael Stroll in the mix as well. The Domination Intimidation Racing Chevrolet DIR rather tight right now. You'll see Nick Tarbuck just behind Michael Stroll. Braxton DeWeese just ahead, the former and defending champion at that. Chad Mikus again looking for a rebound race, but that's been the story of his season. We'll keep tabs on the entire DIR crew as we do JTM. Keep your eyes peeled on these big teams tonight. Morton right now is in 11th. He's fallen back a little bit. Matthew Thunhorst is up into 7th, exactly where he started, in fact. And Thomas Bresci remains 3rd place as he's gotten by now the rookie in Matt Press. Mikolajczyk is going to retire, 49th on the day in qualifying, and it looks like his day will end first of anyone. So unfortunately, from the highest of highs in his career so far to one of the lowest of lows, he'll bow out fast. This is going to be the Roadhouse Racing Machine, the 27. Watch out, Matt Press. He'll skate high. Cannon gets through. Blake Cannon is going to be on a much different strategy than teammate Tom Wetmore tonight. He and Wetmore were able to control a lot of the pace in the Southern 250 on Tuesday night. Weren't able to come away with the victory, but when it came down to green flag strategy, whenever Wetmore let Cannon through, he was unleashing a fast car, almost unleashing a beast on the circuit. Tonight, it looks like it's rather the opposite. Cannon's already out there. We'll see if he ends up getting contained, but so far, he's on the prowl, and he's looking to get himself up and ahead. Matthew Thunhorst side by side. That's going to be for about the 5th, 6th position. Just depends on how close Thunhorst gets. He's P6 now as he's gotten through Matt Press. And Thunhorst looking to join his teammate up in front. Haven't yet so far seen a multi-driver JTM podium yet. There's a good chance we see that as the season goes on. The road courses are usually primed for that opportunity, but for the time being, it looks like Thunhorst is going to have to work his way up the hard way. As he comes across the back straightaway, he'll bring with him Blake Gordon. Gordon looks low on that Matt Press car, can't get it. Chris DeWeese and Alan Dart Images, thank you both for stopping by, watching Braxton DeWeese do his thing. And of course, a lot of fan support for the new guy in town in Hunter Madalenis. Right now, 29th to 26th. Hasn't made it up the ladder just yet, but Juice, thank you for stopping by. So far, it looks like Hunter still mired in the mid-pack, but a lot of time to go here. As you can see, the majority of the field is most interested in running single file. I think that's going to be the way it is all night long. If you've watched the Indianapolis 500, or even if you've watched in recent years the last runnings of the Brickyard 500, or the Brickyard 400, shall we say, a lot of the time, this single-file nature of racing becomes most prominent. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway has a lot of racing room, especially down those front straight and back straight portions, but it is a rather narrow track, and compounding to that is the fact that the banking in the turns is not all too much. Matter of fact, it's just under 15 degrees. Such a small amount means that you can't really rely on the corner to get you through and take your run without planning properly. You can't push as if it was Daytona or Talladega and just let the banking save you. You have to bide your time and make things work with a little bit more planning and patience, and that's what makes passing so much harder. So for the early portion of this race, we would not be surprised in the slightest if we see drivers stay where they are and how they are right now. Most particularly, they're staying mostly single file, making passes in rare, albeit noticeable moments and occasions. A lot of passing zones to keep in mind, but right now I think the most prominent will be off the exits of 2 and 4 and setting it up down the front and back straightaway respectively. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, unlike a lot of NASCAR Cup Series style ovals, is a perfect rectangle. Doesn't have any of the curvature through a front straightaway. There's no D shape in this oval. And unlike Chicagoland, there is no curve down the back straightaway. It is flat and usually flat out when you go down those straights. And of course, the turns are where you catch yourself back up. This circuit has been used now for stock car racing for a little over 31 years. All began with the 1994 Brickyard 400, and of of course, at that time, the height of the rivalry with Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt, AJ Foyt making one of his very few NASCAR Cup Series appearances, even Richard Petty getting some time behind the number 43 as a test driver, among many others. Tonight, looking a little bit different, of course, with these virtual Xfinity cars on the way. NASCAR is experimenting with the idea of bringing the oval back in full for Indy, and the Xfinity cars always bring great racing to it. Freilich, I'll tell you this much, he's up 2 seconds right now on the rest of the field, and it looks like his rather aggressive tendencies have gotten him up on top. Brian McFerrin is 2 down across the line that time by. You'll see him now being passed by the remainder of the field, and he is not a retiree, but instead very far off the leaders, and it looks like he's going to take himself down to pit road. Hopefully not a retiree, but it looks like multiple laps down. He might join Paul Mikolajczyk as the second driver to bow out. Freilich, far and away your leader, coming to lap 10 already. That number 15 is out of sight compared to everyone else. Lane, Cannon, Bresci, Lariah, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as they run 2.8 seconds back is Michael right now in the 44. Michael Lariah and Ethan Lane were fighting for the victory at this circuit when they had contact in the final quarter of the Octane Series event, and that sent Lariah around spinning and lost their chance at race victory. Lane was able to come away with the victory that day, and of course it wasn't any hard feelings between those drivers, but they found a big problem, and this is what we talk about when it comes to being aggressive and passing in Indy. There's not a lot of room off the exits of the corners, and it is a prime passing spot, as we said. If 2 drivers skate up the circuit at the same time, and they find each other there, well, it'll be bad news, because this wall is unforgiving, and it'll send you right back like a rocket down the front straightaway. We've seen it happen before. I wouldn't be all too shocked if it happened again, truthfully. Matthew Thunhorse right now finds himself in the 7th place. It looks like he's dropped 1 briefly across the line. And we'll see whether or not he gets it back now. Michael Arias still just ahead. Watching the fight between these guys, only 2 drivers so far who qualified outside the top 10 are now within it. Blake Gordon from 11th and Braxton DeWeese from 12th are the 2 anomalies so far. Both have made up a total of 4 positions to this point. And it looks like Michael Stroll is trying to get himself in the fight to be that next man who'll go to the inside on Ronnie Osmer. That is for 12th. Now he's only 2 spots shy. 11 laps in, Justin Morton will be his next target. Morton right now in the number 9. He might not be the best of the oval guys for JTM, but I'll tell you this much, when he has a standout race, he lets you know. The PepsiCo number 9 tonight. Of course, we're not at Charlotte just yet. That's our next big race on the calendar. It's about a month away from now, but last time we had that 300-mile expedition, Morton came across the line spinning in the 2nd place. Justin knows what it's like to get it done in the clutch at these big tracks. It's helped them out before to find victory. Unexpected. Florida and Monza as well, by virtue of a very unexpected strategy call. While the rest of his teammates went into pit road, he chose to hold out for 30 full laps. Only 3 drivers were able to do so. Justin was the leading man, of which that's what got him to victory. But now it looks like Michael Stroll gets up to 11th. The 3 makes it by the 9, and that's going to be another spot, and an easy one to get at that. Michael Stroll, up next for him would be Matt Press. Press is the number 60, just a few tenths of a second away. Michael so far in the championship standings, let's talk about where he is. It looks like now Stroll finds himself trying to catch up to his DIR teammates. He's 21st in the title race, lost 8 spots last week. That was a detrimental night for him. He came in inside the top 15, but his teammates are much further up. Tarbuck right now is 7th. And, of course, Braxton DeWeese, he's up there in 9th. So you got multiple guys ahead of Stroll right now, but there's a significant difference between where he used to be, up in the top 15, to now outside the top 20. Michael looking for a good race tonight to alleviate some of those losses. The goal is to get back inside the top 20 in points today, and I think if he just holds his ground, that won't be an issue and should be a rather easy thing to do. Cannon across the line, your new race leader. Ethan Lane, side by side now with Cole Freilich. Freilich to the outside, wobbles. Could have been a whole lot worse, but Blake Cannon will lead the Express train through, and the Cannon Express is to the point. Up next now is Ethan Lane. Got to watch out for that number 6. Ethan is coming behind, and he's coming there quick. Looking to the inside now. That's the number 6 machine. The number 27's up top. It's side by side. Second place qualifier takes first, and he slides in with not a hint of trouble. In a lap and a half, we've had 3 leaders. It's gone from Freilich to Cannon to Ethan Lane. And it looks like the goal is, of course, to sit things comfortably as Lane's lead as he came across the line. It's all about the number 6 now. 15 laps in out of 100. He'll take it to the point. The goal now is to stretch this advantage. 15 laps in out of 100, strategy-wise, we got a lot of time to determine what exactly is the right thing to do, quote-unquote. So, we look at the numbers. Tonight is all about the tires. There is no fuel limit once again in the Integrity Ignite Series, but only 4 tire sets are available. I believe, based on our previous numbers, we could see a one-stop strategy, but based on the warmth that might build up on the track tonight, I don't know if that's going to be the way to go. Track temp has gotten a lot warmer, up to 88 degrees Fahrenheit. That's more than a 10-degree gain from where we started. So we talked about that relative humidity playing a role. It won't be foggy tonight, but it will get heated. Even if it's not all too sunny, there's potential for warmth and potential for triple-digit track temps, which are going to burn up these tires that much faster. Thomas Bressi defending third. Last time by, he ran a 54.554. Remember that his qualifying time was a 51.758. So, yes, he's running now about 3 seconds slower than what he qualified in. It's a big difference, and it's even bigger further back. Tyler Hensley now going to fight side by side with Ronnie Osmer. Hensley, man, he was running good last week. Unfortunately, got involved with a big incident and fell outside the top 30. His rebound season has seen some minor successes so far, but the overall numbers have admittedly not been as impressive as the flashes we've seen to this point. As it stands, though, Hensley finds himself 16th, and across the line, he'll be officially scored in the 15th place as he got by Nicholas Ward. Drucker to the inside, that's the 56. And Jack now is going to be chasing after Nicholas Ward to get inside that top 15 himself. Drucker, the Daytona race winner, always strong at those big tracks, but tonight, since it's not a plate-style circuit, a little bit more challenging to generate speed and generate runs automatically. Not something that you have to take for granted at Indianapolis, and not something you can take for granted. It comes down to consistency, and qualifying is consistency. If you qualify well, you're in a much better spot. Otherwise, not so much. And those drivers who struggled early on with that 2-lap shootout, well, now they're paying the cost of it. Jack Drucker, who looks like he's still making consistent gains, it's definitely going to hinder him more than anything else to come up the ladder, having to fight and claw for it. 13th up to 10th. That'll be Michael Stroll. All the while, it's further back now. Michael Araya getting by Thomas Bressi. That's for third place. Now, Thomas finds himself running P4, the first man outside the podium. 18 laps in out of 100 so far. Small gaggles of 1 and 0 have become more prominent than any other configuration. Braxton DeWeese here looking further back, and you'll see side by side. That's with Matt Press, Justin Morton, and Nick Tarbuck. Looks like Morton is going to concede, get back in line. Matt Press now has the advantage over the Tarbuck car. Nick is in the 29, and he's still waiting. To the inside now, he'll go, and it looks like Matt Press once again shot up high. He qualified in 4th today, but so far has not been the best of performances. Falling back down the ladder, and he might be in jeopardy of falling back to as far as 15th, with a train including Tyler Hensley coming his way. Haven't yet seen any confidence out of any driver with using the outside groove, and again, I think that's coming into play. Press is going to get lucky to slot back in line, and had he not done so, I think he would have gotten freight trained outright. But in this case, he'll get saved, and saved real quick. The number 9 and Morton to the inside. He'll shuffle low. Now he'll come back up top. Watch out for Tyler Hensley here. And of course, he's looking to make a move to get himself further up inside the top 15. 14th right now for Hensley. And coming from 17th on the grid, he is making moves consistently. To the inside, though, Jack Drucker wants to steal that fire. Nicholas Ward down low, blocked by Drucker. It's going to be side by side, just behind, but Jack now gets to choose where he would like to go to get a little bit more help. Nicholas Ward pushing the 56 out and ahead in this fight. That'll get him through turn 1. Hensley in the wall, brief. That could have been big contact. And that exit of a corner is so dangerous, and it's going to catch the 5 out. Hopefully, not a lot of damage, but that could be a big issue. Oh, contact for Adam Wood. Wood further back. Does everyone save it? Yes, they do. But as you can see, big slowdown. Adam Wood goes to the inside of the circuit. Luckily, he gets away. Here's a replay because the 45 got out of frame, but you'll see he had a problem, and we're going to go back to the time of incident. Watch this. Wood, high like Hensley was, hit the wall, came down, then went up into the wall again, and luckily got out of everyone's way as it happened. That's going to save the rest of the field, but for Wood, it sends him outside the top 35 as he heads into pit road as we speak. Wood, far out of contention, simply put. We'll take a look back up front again. There's Ethan Lane, your race leader. He's got the edge now by some 1.3 seconds over Blake Cannon, Michael Araya, and there's Thomas Bressi. Bressi still 4th. Blake Gordon side by side and just got by Don Stevenson. Cole Fralick is up next on the agenda. Fralick's fallen back a little bit ever since taking the race lead, and he's now down to the 7th. Gordon, hoping to get another position here, would just like to keep on moving up. No concern about moving backwards now for that 13 machine. He's got his eyes set on continuing that success. Fralick, though, is going to keep on blocking. And up top, Cole nearly pulled up to the wall. Blake Gordon shouldn't concern himself all too much with what happens ahead of him. He just needs to make sure he gets the run and gets the speed to start making his way out. Something that hasn't happened yet so far. As he comes down the back straightaway now, looks low. Here comes Gordon surging through. That's the inside, and it's lap 22. Gordon up to 7th. Cole Fralick is now going to see Don Stevenson coming his way. Unfortunately for the number 47 of Stevenson, he actually fell back a little bit further than anything else. Wasn't able to get the jump immediately, and now, pulling himself back together from 6th in the qualifying grid, his end goal is at least to end up neutral, which would be 6th place once again, if not more. Getting himself back up to 9th as a start in the single digits and in the top 10. Everything else, not a guarantee. Matt Press is now outside the top 10, and he's gone down from 4th to 12th, down 8 spots on the day, with a little bit more pressure now from Jack Drucker. That's going to be -9 on the category, and it looks like now with Drucker making waves on the inside, and that help from Nicholas Ward, it'll be -10 now for Matt Press. And a startling reminder that today something is going wrong for that number 60, at least when it comes to race pace. We saw how confident he was to get it up in front in qualifying, but this prime opportunity presented to the rookie, not necessarily being wasted, but it looks like right now, just having issues. Simple as. Not always is it your race when it comes to race performance, even if you qualify well. And that's something that we have to understand as a natural fact in the racing we see. Sometimes drivers qualify poorly, and even then, we see them make it up to the front of the field. It's something that's happened many a time before. Wouldn't be surprised if it happens even later today. Adam Wood just retired. Down the back straightaway, Hunter Madalenis now putting up pressure. 29th up to 19th. He's gained 10 so far. And with a pass on Tyler Hensley, he can make that +11 here. And it looks like now, as he heads to the inside on Hensley, he's going to go for more than double digits. Hunter Madalenis is a man on the move from just within the top 30 to now inside the top 20. And goal is at least that top 15 on this first stint. But I think that's a reasonable place to finish this first stint off. Get yourself set up for the end. Madalenis at the line, by the way, 17th place, so that's a gain of plus 12 over the course of these open 25 laps. Some of the biggest gains on track, and for some of the most important positions, Hunter Madalenis is doing it again. Of course, Ethan Lane has been unstoppable. There's really no other way to put it. A quarter of the way through this race, there is no driver running the same speed, getting the same performance out of the car, and he got the race lead, and now he is there. And I don't think he wants to relinquish it. I don't think he will end up doing so. Lane often shows he has a long run car later in the long run. He was patient, let other drivers take the race lead, let them battle each other, in fact. And now it looks like he's showing the speed he just naturally has inside the car, and that's the way it's going to be for the rest of the night, if of course he doesn't make any mistakes. Sometimes Lane, his biggest enemy is himself when it comes to making errors on the racing circuit. He's so good, and sometimes he gets in his own head and tries to push himself that much further, and that can cause problems as well. The driver has to be mindful of the fact that even they might be a problem for themselves. Forget about other drivers. You got to focus on your race first. Freilich coming close to Jack Drucker. Cole is still just ahead of Nicholas Ward here, but Ward is putting down pressure. And it looks like Jack to the inside after only 26 laps. It'll be Cole Freilich, though, who heads to pit road. Freilich, after 27, makes it through. Might be seeing an interesting strategy call here as drivers come down a pit road only a quarter of the way in. Watch out for this call. Might be a difference maker for the entire race. Odd to see happening so early, some drivers going in, only 27 laps in. Maybe we'll see drivers go for the two-stopper, but even then, 27 laps in is closer to the quarter of the race, not a third. The strategy calls, I wouldn't say being manipulated per se, but instead they're looking a little bit different than what we typically see. 27 laps in, coming to lap number 28. Ethan Lane makes his way through. 3.5 back, that's going to be Michael Araya. Araya is up to second firmly, and it'll be Thomas Bresci, 4 seconds falling back in third. Sam Nieto is going to retire, so he will be 47th and multiple laps down by the end of race. Nieto is the third driver to bow out of this event. Remaining 46 drivers are still racing. Cole Freilich is now on the way. Cole finds himself scored 39th at the stripe that time by and still falling back. It looks like he's going to end up in about the 43rd, 44th position when all drivers go through. And that is the consequence of being one of those early adopters of the new tires. And the earliest adopter of all, really. And he's out on his own. We'll see if anyone tries to replicate him, but so far, Cole Freilich is a lonely man on the racing circuit. Brett McClendon just went in, but McClendon is now 1 lap down. And it looks like with them, nobody else. So the rest of the field gets away and continues to fight. DJ Stagner, 27th up to 18th. He's following the footsteps, perhaps, of a Hunter Madalenis type and trying to make his way all the way through up to the top of the board. Madalenis so far has gained more than 10. DJ Stagner has officially gained now 9 spots. If he gets this one on Matt Press, that would be his 10th, and that would send Press down to 18th place from 4th in qualifying. Just a continued struggle today, finding himself now minus 14. And of course, big negatives on the day there for the number 60, but a lot of time to keep on recovering. DJ Stagner, though, now continuing the positives. He's up now 10. All the while, Hunter Madalenis is up 16 places, 29th to 13th. And it looks like right now the biggest mover on the day is not done yet. He still has a little bit of time to maybe surge up inside the top 10 before his stint comes to a close. Based on the estimates that we have some 20 laps more for drivers to maximize their time on track. What can be done now for Hunter Madalenis? He's made so many moves up so far that even though he didn't have the best of qualifying positions, he's now outrunning the majority of the field. And not only is he outrunning that portion of the field, but it looks like he's running away with more positions each and every lap. DJ Stagner now 17th, as we mentioned. Jared Davis is up 8th, 24th to 16th. And it looks like Elliott Henderson is falling just a little bit shy of where he started. Lap 31, side-by-side, Vinny Tigner and Matt Press. Tigner trying to get just within Matt Press's range of the top 20. This could be the position that sends Matt Press in jeopardy of falling out of the 20th position. Dangerous circumstance now for Matt Press, but it looks like he absolutely does not have a long-run car tonight, and it's showing in the way he's performed. Michael Araya is led now by Ethan Lane, 4 full seconds. Thomas Bresci getting a little bit closer now to Lariah. It's a 4-car train, but 2 of these guys are lappers, McClendon and recently down a pit road, Will Riker. Take a look off the back end of the 67, and you'll see there's Bresci trying to get up to his race rival. For second, anyway, they'll both battle. Michael Araya passed. That's Will Riker, though. This is not a battle for position between the 67 and the 44. That instead will put Lariah in jeopardy of an actual battle for position. Thomas Bresci closed it in. The gap is shorter. The times between are smaller. Now it looks like 24's got a good shot to take second place. Coming through, Bresci down the back straightaway, quicker, gaining time and cutting the distance. And while these two run for second, nobody else in the top 10 really going to be battling aggressively. See Jack Drucker, Nicholas Ward now together in the top 10. It looks like Drucker getting himself up to 9th, Ward for P10. Got to watch out to see who goes to pit road next. 21st for Matt Press. And 22nd will be Casey Shue, only for him to make that pass. So it looks like Matt Press might be in jeopardy of falling beyond the confines of outside the top 20. The conversation really could become whether or not he falls outside of the top 25 or the top 30. Up high, there goes the 60 again. And Matt Press has been on a constant game of trying to recover himself as the night progresses. And he'll come down to pit road with Chad Mikas and DJ Stagner. It looks like drivers are splitting this race into thirds for a 2-stop strategy. Thomas Bresci goes in, and I think now we're seeing the signal that the 2-stopper is the way to go. Ethan Lane also in as well. 1-stop strategy will be abandoned. Tire wear is too much. 33 laps apiece is the new move. Lane is in, Michael Araya is out and in front. Looks like as it stands, he's your race leader. 2.5 seconds back is Matthew Thunhorst, and then you'll have Braxton Deweese in third. Now, as Lariah comes in, the rest of those front runners are due to get on their way. Braxton Deweese comes in with Nick Tarbuck, Michael Stroll also making it in as well. Madalenis, Rob Ackley, and further back, guys like Tom Wetmore making it. This is a big line of some 10-plus drivers. Cody Smith, you'll see there the 41 comes in at Jake Miller, and everyone decides to making it all at once. Meanwhile, we're going to watch out now and see who beats out who. Thomas Bresci is once again chasing Ethan Lane. Laying across the line, it looks like he'll have a chance to gain many a spot and put himself back in business as the leader of the net strategy race. At the line. Lane scored 13th, but it looks like pretty clearly he is on top of the board for those drivers who are not holdouts. So, when we mention not being a holdout, we're talking about drivers who have not gotten off a pit road, or rather not gotten off of their original stint. It looks like very few drivers have done so to this point, and they're all coming in now. Don Stevenson comes in after holding out, as does Jared Davis and Jacob Fife and Gael Brooks. That leaves Ronnie Osmer after 35 laps on top of the board. Andrew Hamilton and Brent McClendon have additionally retired. And with those two on their way, it's going to be far fewer drivers ready to get back to work. Osmer, the only driver right now on his original set of rubber, and it looks like he's going to hang on as long as possible. Not quite sure if it's the right decision to do so, but for the time being, 55 laps, of course, in would be close to the end of our second stint. Osmer right now in the 55, having less concern about the future, and right now just trying to stretch it long and get those bonus points. To the inside, here comes Ronnie Osmer. Ronnie's down and in, and then you'll have Don Stevenson now on his way. Will Reichert is going to be far out of the picture, and that leaves Ethan Lane with a chance again to usurp the top step. And that's going to give Lane about a 5-second lead now over second place Thomas Bressie. Bressie is additionally pretty far ahead of Michael O'Ryan now. He got by and he was able to make the best of his strategy call. There further back is going to be Braxton DeWeese. You'll see Michael Stroll heading to the inside with Hunter Madalenas. Hunter now has made a lot of gains, and according to timing and scoring across the line, he's up to 16th again. It looks like a top 15 run is going to be comfortably in his hands, and he can do a lot more from there as long as he holds things together just right. Just has to remain calm from here. Most important moments of this race are far ahead. Tyler Hensley just behind to the inside now on Steve Durham. That pass will not be for position. Nevertheless, drivers going at each other, whether or not they're on the same lap. Chad Mike is 25th up to 18th. A solid race right now for the 25. We've talked a lot about his point standing circumstance and trying to make it back up into the conversation of the top 30. Right now, Mikas is 42nd of the championship standings, up 4 after the last race. Even still, getting back up into the top 30 is where he wants to be. You're treading water if you're in the top 30 and just about there, but you are far below that point if you are ending up behind that category. 42nd is not safe at all. It doesn't mean he can't improve. And a night like this, just a comfortable top 20 could make a difference, and a big one at that. So, watch what happens now as the field gets back to work. Mikas is going to get himself gains. Don Stevenson is actually going to find himself on the big negative train, but that's because he's got newer rubber here, and he's trying to make his way back up. He's going to go for that late pit stop strategy rather than the undercut and going in early. It looks like instead, Stevenson waited, and he's going to go long to try to pick up steam later in the run. Let's see if that works out. 40 laps in out of 100 coming across this time by for Lane, and he's far ahead no matter what call he decides to make. And it looks like he's comfortably ahead no matter what. Michael O'Ryan right now, third place, trying to catch up to Thomas Bressie. No dice there. Closer battles are going to be, again, further back. Mikas and Don Stevenson, and then you'll have a single file run of Tom Wetmore, Casey Shue, Seb Miller, Justin Morton, all of which together here, Morton has gone from 8th to 27th. Admittedly, not the right direction so far for the driver in that number 9. Nearly a 20 position loss, one of the biggest on the circuit tonight, and only rivaled by Matt Press, who is now from 4th to 39th. And it looks like Matt Press and his bad day has really gotten a lot worse. We mentioned that it didn't look like he had the car long term, and that's come back to bite him big. And it's going to have long-term consequences now that he finds himself so far out of contention. Lane to the inside, that's on Cal Filarski. However, it's going to be close now for second. There goes Michael Araya, beaming down to the inside and taking it from Bresci. The 44 chases, catches, and goes right through. That's going to make his way in. Of course, Michael Araya, he's up now to the second position. P2, Laraya up and ahead for that spot. Braxton Deweese now up into the 5th place. He makes some of those small gains, 2 spots on the day from that first pit cycle, and now Matthew Thunhorse is going to chase him. For the first time tonight, Braxton is up inside the top 5 by virtue of strong pit calls. Strategy and consistency is everything, and it's once again playing out that route. As you can see now, the driver of the number 8 is getting himself right up there with Deweese. To the inside, this is for 5th, and it looks like Matthew Thunhorse easily has the pace to make the pass. Deweese letting him go. Cole Freilich further back right now, 8th place. Although he hasn't been up there fighting for the win, he's had a lot of pace, and I have to admit, Cole Freilich's got a lot more time to make things happen. So we'll see whether or not he makes the most of it. As it stands, however, single file all the way down the line. Tyler Hensley looking at Vinny Tigner and trying to keep a watch now on some of these more exciting battles, because now it looks like the entire field is really settled in to where they are going to be. Pace is going to be consistent, and most of all, it's going to be all about consistency in order of when things are done, how they are done, and why they are done. When you're in this cyclical form, you really don't worry all too much about the numbers. You just know when to go and when to do what. 100 laps on the table for this race. Our first pit stop cycle coming about lap 33. Next is going to be about lap 66 to 67. And that would be it. As such, got to find out what happens next. Here comes Vinny Tigner still leading this trail. 2/10 back, you'll see Michael Araya has Thomas Bresci on him. Bresci's been laying back himself, and looks like this calm and collected pace is going to be seen from many a driver. Braxton Deweese fades back, and now Matthew Thunhorse has gotten himself P5. Nick Tarbuck is coming through, as is Jack Drucker. Drucker is now up 12, and that's going to be some of the biggest gains on the day. 20th to 8th so far for the 56. Jack is Toyota Supra, doing a great job now as he's just ahead of Nicholas Ward and Michael Stroll. Stroll looking for a ticket inside the top 10, and if he gets by the 97 of Ward, he would have one firmly in his grasp. And now with the 97 behind, Stroll has made it in. Nicholas Ward is booted out. We'll see if it's a brief kick or if it's going to end up lasting a little bit longer, because DJ Stagner is coming through, and Stagner has gained 15 so far tonight. I think he's got the attention, of course, on what's ahead of him. He would like to make up more, but Hunter Madalenas comes through, up 17, and he just got by Stagner. That will be another position gained, up 18 so far for Hunter Madalenas. What a day so far for the 07. The biggest mover, and from just within the top 30. Again, the fact the top 10 is even a possibility is a shock, but a testament to his pace and skill. Madalenas keeps things moving, and now, of course, his next target is the 97 of Ward, who is only just a few tenths ahead. It's very clear so far in the season that the sky is the limit for the rookie in the 07 in Hunter Madalenas. So far, he's been thoroughly impressive on the racing circuit, not only, of course, in gaining multiple victories so far, but also in that he's gotten himself consistently up in the top 5 in situations where he had a top 10 car, or even right now in a situation where he had a top 30 car in qualifying, and only just he has a chance to finish this race comfortably inside the top 10. That, of course, is never easy to figure out. From the beginning to the end of a race like this, championship tensions might be on the minds of those who are coming in as veterans. I'm sure Thomas Bressy thinks about building up that points bubble each and every race. Madalenas might have a different mentality solely because he's never raced for the title in this league. But we mentioned, of course, to Thomas Bressy last time we interviewed him. His goal right now is, of course, gaining to make sure that there's no catastrophe that can knock him out of the championship lead. It happened last year with 12 laps to go on the season, and if it does happen again, it would be another instance and potentially the 4th straight season Bressy finishes runner-up in the championship. Twice in 2023, and of course, last year as well. And what a horrible thing it would be for a driver to feel that sensation as the bridesmaid for the 4th consecutive time. Overall, statistically speaking, Thomas Bressy has accrued the most points of any driver in the Integrity Ignite Series, bar none. Over the entire year, he led the Next Level Racing Championship in 2023, but the year was split into 2 seasons. Had it not been for a catastrophe in the final race of the season, he would have been able to win the title last year over Braxton Deweese in 2024. And of course, so far he's already the title leader and has himself advantageous by more than 50 points over Blake Cannon, who is right now running in 35th, by the way. Bressy has been the star of the Ignite Series overall. And numerically speaking, I think that is just the way things are going to go if he just keeps up the pace he's had. 3rd place right now, Bressy, finding himself rounding out the podium. Blake Gordon, Matthew Thunhorst, Braxton Deweese, they're going to be 4th, 5th, and 6th. Nick Tarbuck goes P7, Michael Stroll 8th, Hunter Madalenas 9th, and Jack Drucker rounding out the top 10 here. Drucker getting himself up plus 10 on the day, and it looks like plus 20 now for Hunter Madalenas. DJ Stagner has gone from 27th up to 12th, and he'll find himself right now gaining 15, one of the biggest movers overall in the same vein as Hunter Madalenas. Well, Hunter's absolutely been able to make it further up, both from the back of the field to where he is now. DJ Stagner has been able to put together a very respectable race in his own right. An undeniable good performance, and I'd say a great performance at that, given the quality of this field. Slowly but surely, you're seeing in the top 10 drivers who qualified outside of the top 15. And as they come in increasing frequency, well, it means that we might just see more parity in the final pit cycle, which is coming up very soon, and it might look a lot different than what you anticipated. Ethan Lane leads by 6 seconds though, so even though there's a lot going on behind him, surely, I don't think he thinks or cares about all too much of it. You look further back, it's largely single file, it's largely out of his sight, and it's of course out of mind for a driver so far who has been so successful, and he's made his way through ever consistently. 24th up to 20th, that will be Jared Davis. Casey Shue, 33rd up to 21st. Sebastian Miller, 23rd up to 22nd, gaining 1 position. 8th to 23rd is Justin Morton. Unfortunately, he's one of those guys who has fallen back more than anything else. That Toyota Supra now finds himself across the halfway point of this race, down 15, rather than some of those big movers like Stagner and Madalenas. The JTM number 9 has seen some struggles, and right now the 9 car needs a rebound if he wants to find any success in this race. Of course, ahead of him now, Sebastian Miller, DJ Stagner's teammate. He's gained 1 spot. Casey Shue has gone from 33rd up to 21st. And right now, qualifying position does not mean nearly as much. Your pole sitter is running 40th, 4th place in qualifying is running 37th, 5th place in qualifying 44th, and 8th place 23rd. Your single-digit guys, not all of them have lasted, but it's clear for a good reason why Ethan Lane has. Coming across the line as Cole Freilich retires on the day, his outside pole sitting mate up at the front row. He is still all the rage, leading nearly every lap in the opening half. Now 50 laps to go, he still maintains himself on top. Lariah, Bressie, Thunhorst all further back. Blake Gordon more the same here, but Ethan Lane has been unstoppable so far. How's about we take a ride on board and look at what's going on from inside the cockpit with your race leader, Ethan Lane, and get a listen for ourselves as to see why he's been so successful. That's one lap on board with your leading man, Ethan Lane. As you might have noticed from what we're hearing, I don't think he's going full on in the slightest. He is clutching and coasting into turn one, and that means he's actually saving his stuff more than anything else. I think that's going to be the trend for the entire field right now. If you want to make it the full distance, you cannot go 100%. So Ethan Lane, even though he is so far ahead right now with more than 6 seconds to work with, he has decided that he, too, doesn't have to worry all too much about pushing 100%, and that's impressive in its own right. 48 laps to go. Ethan Lane is a man on a mission, and he has continued to be the top driver. 48 remaining. Coming to 47 this time by, 6 seconds back will be Michael Araya. Thomas Bressie will be then in third. Matthew Thunhorst is in fourth, and Blake Gordon is P5. Nick Tarbuck goes sixth on the order, and you'll have Braxton Luis in the 7th spot here, 12th up to 7th. He was able to make 2 spots up based on the pit cycle last time by. Looks like he's fallen back, but he still is firmly inside the single digits here. Several seconds up on guys, including Jack Drucker. Drucker is the last driver as it stands in the top 10. Jack so far is running a great race in the number 56, of course, 20th up to 10th. 97 of Nicholas Ward, 11th place now. 16th to 11th. DJ Stagner, ever the gainer, ever the big mover, would like to get closer to trying to fight for that hard charger award. And what a great race it would be for both he and Hunter Madalenas to see drivers outside the top 25 make their way in together. That would be quite the shock, but it looks like tonight, with 2 of the drivers who are always used to pulling off the unpredictable, they now have a chance to do it once again. And DJ Stagner getting by Zach, of course, that's going to be a move on Nicholas Ward is looking up ahead. Jack Drucker might be his next target, and that's going to be 10th place in the 56. Hunter Madalenas going 9th, Michael Stroll up to 8th. Looks like right now, Domination Intimidation Racing 6th, 7th, 8th. Positions 6, 7, 8 from 15th, 12th, and 13th respectively in qualifying. He's having some monitor troubles as reported in the chat room. Luckily, he's still with us here and at the front of the field. That could have been not only big for himself, but also big for his teammates because he's running around all of them all at once. That could be, of course, very bad news if that ends up being a consistent thing, but for the time being, Deweese still looks confident enough to fight for position and keep himself up in front. Now going around the outside of Daniel Foss, it's going to be Michael Stroll chasing him as well. Number 3, Stroll, tucking to the inside. Another quick move. Hunter Madalena's finding himself in the 0-7. Ducks low all the same. Jared Davis with Elliott Henderson. Now Tyler Hensley in the 5. See what Tyler can do. 16th place for Henderson. Of course, it looks like now Tyler Hensley with a chance to take that position. Tyler qualified in 17th, and while we've seen him as high as about the 12th position, it looks like overall he's fallen back to this median point right in the middle between getting up to the top 10 and falling back outside the top 20. That seems to be just about the way he's been running relative to his pace and his performance tonight, and I don't think that's going to change all too much. It seems like he's got a firm understanding of what exactly he has in terms of pace, and he's run to those expectations so far. 44 laps to go. We've got about 15 laps until the final pit cycle comes to pass in its entirety. Watch out. We're going to see drivers eventually come down to pit road. Maybe starting with this one right here. That's Ethan Lane, of course, but maybe it starts in the middle and from within. DJ Stagner up to 11th. Jack Drucker finding himself currently, of course, that's the 56, 20th to 10th. We talked about both of them quite a few times, so how about we look a little bit further behind? Rob Ackley, Domination Intimidation Racing's last driver on the circuit right now, and even though he's P-last compared to his teammates, he's having a pretty good day. To be scored now in 15th. Chad Mikas just got up ahead of him. That's the 14th place man, but the 22 of Ackley, a driver who's ever the consistent man at the intermediates, and the first ever Integrity Ignite Series winner. Why not give him a chance at the front of the pack now? Ackley qualified outside the top 20. I don't think that was to his standard, but it looks like over the course of the first 60-some laps, he's been able to make up just a few spots, and critical ones at that. Rob is right now 16th in the championship standings. He is up 3 based on when he last went at it. That, of course, was from 19th to 16th after Rockingham. A night like this should be able to bring him up at least 1 point in the championship picture relative to all those around him. So I don't think there's going to be all too much of an issue for the Rob Ackley car, at least when it comes to making up more position in the championship standings, and that's even if he is where he is right now to the end of the race. And I think that's a very high likelihood. He doesn't end up gaining any more spots, but instead he just stays where he is and finishes around this point with 42 laps to go. Jared Davis now looking at Chad Mikas, and while Ackley got by his teammate, it looks like now it might be Mikas struggling a little bit more. Chad falls back just slightly. So, as such, you'll see Mikas fade a little bit behind Tyler Hensley, 17th to 17th, 14th to 18th for Elliott Henderson, and you'll have Vinny Tigner in that number 12 running tonight on the Monday night circuit. Great to have Vinny Tigner, a Rookie of the Year last year in the Integrity Ignite Series, of course, and he had himself a fantastic season. I'll tell you this much, though, he's got his eyes set on what's next on Saturday nights. Only 2 Saturdays remain live on FTN for Saturday Night Thunder's first season of the 2025 calendar year. That's right, and it means that more than anything else, we've got ourselves a great opportunity to watch that championship battle unfold live and exclusively on FTN Broadcasting. If you enjoy the coverage that you've been seeing on this channel on Monday nights, well, Saturdays are pretty similar. And with that said, great place to go. FTN Broadcasting at 7:45 p.m. Eastern on Saturday nights. 2 more races to decide the championship with 5 drivers eligible. It's going to be an exciting last 2 races, Michigan and Las Vegas. So stay tuned on weekends as FTN covers Saturday Night Thunder. Caution is out for the first time tonight. Incident in the back of the field, it appears. And taking a look now to officially determine what just happened. Yellow is out with 40 laps remaining. And drivers coming around the circuit together, as you can see. We're going to investigate pit road. And you can see right here, Will Reichert's got a problem. So it appears that Will might just have been involved in this one. Watch this. Taking a look back with the 67 of Riker to see if we can determine whether or not he was the man involved in our first caution of the day. Yellow flags out at lap number 60 here, and here's our look. Going to be a little bit tricky. He was far outside of the top 35 at this point, so you might not see him the whole ways through. Ethan Lane, your leader. And as the leading men got through quite well, Reichert ended up going down to pit road. You can see right here, there's the 67 once again. And he ends up getting damage here. We're not quite sure exactly why, and there looks to be an issue. He hit the apron, and I believe that's what caused the problem. We're going to look back and see if that's the case, but Reichert on pit road right now saw trouble. His front end is smashed up, and you'll see now, there's Kyle Cooper, and it looks like Steve Durham coming together to save their race and get some laps back. Pit road's going to be busy. It'll be leader Ethan Lane bringing them all in. Now to find out who has what it takes off pit exit. It's going to be a big one here. Let's figure out who gets out in front. Lane over Lariah, Bresci, Tarbuck, Thunhorst, Blake Gordon, Braxton Nuis, Hunter Madalenas, Michael Stroll, and DJ Stagner. That's the way they roll 1 through 10. Lane is again advantageous. So, 39 laps to go. Ethan Lane will be your leading driver. The Brickyard 250 so far has gone caution-free until this point. It is our first slowdown of the day. Yellow flag is out after 62 laps, and will return to green at lap 64. Lane, Lariah, and Bresci. Same top three as previous. Here we go again now as the number 6 is ready to occupy the bottom. It's really his choice here, so let's see where exactly Lane decides to go. High or low, it could go both ways. And it looks like for Ethan, he's firmly set on the low. Ethan Lane to the bottom. 1 lap to green. Steve Durham going to get his lap back here. Everyone gets put back together. Lap 64 for your first restart of the night. Took a long while to get to this point, but at long last we've hit it. A restart, perhaps most unexpected, especially after all the laps we've run consistently to get here. Side by side, and I think right now we know who the all-out favorite is. That, of course, would be Ethan Lane. He has been a tremendous runner so far in terms of his pace, performance, and, of course, just getting away from everyone. He hasn't had to worry about the field all night long. He had a 6-second lead before the incident, the biggest anyone's had all throughout the day. And that gap was huge. Big enough, of course, where it's going to make a significant difference now as the field gets set to go back to work. With the pack evened out now, let's see if it's about time anyone has a chance at Ethan Lane. Double file restart. Lariah up top. He'll be leading Domination Intimidation Racing's Nick Tarbuck. Hunter Matalettis now is firmly inside the single digits, 29th up to 8th. That's a gain of 21 places. Here we go again. iRacing official pace car waves the green, and we are now back in business. Green flags out, Lane gets the jump, and with them, of course, Lariah and Bressy. But again, Ethan's got the edge through the opening corner. Already it's going to be a bumbling mess outside of turns 1 and 2. The Hornet's Nest has come together again, but it's going to be sifted down into double file racing quickly. Now, with that final pit stop out of the way, it's very likely we see drivers go the distance if they save well in these next coming laps. Expecting drivers to go not for a full-on aggressive route, but instead, we might see a little bit more of that back and forth clutch and coast. Something we've seen previously. Now, the big thing is whether or not it's going to happen. It's right on the bubble here. We're coming to 36 laps to go anyway. So I can't say for certainty that we have enough time for drivers to stretch it, and I don't think they are confident with what they have, at least now. But the next few laps will determine whether or not it's possible, or if it ends up being again an impossibility. Very likely that we don't get drivers going the full distance with that saving, but at the same time, taking a listen on board to Ethan Lane after he gets his race lead, that'll be a big indicator. He's already a second out over Lariah and Bressy, and Michael just took second. Looks like once again we are settling into that very same lineup we had previous. Across the line once more. To the inside is going to be now Michael Stroll. He's looking for a pass on Blake Gordon. This would be for 7th place. Looking low, sliding in. Michael takes the pass. "35 laps to go. Still time on the table. Since the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is so big relative to other circuits, it's not game over if a driver's not in the right position right now. But I gotta say, we're talking about the right position in relative terms, because the race lead has been an open and shut discussion all night long. Far from a discussion, really. It's been all about Ethan Lane, and he's kept himself up and ahead with little concern as to what's going on around, in front, or behind him. And I think that's going to be something that is continuously portrayed all throughout the night. Side by side, Rob Ackley is going to go just behind Elliott Henderson. That's a fight between he and teammate Chad Mikus. Mikus is going to get past now. That's going to be for 15th officially. Rob gets up to P15. Don Stevenson's going to be 13th. Elliott Henderson is going to be 14th place. Stagner right now 11th, up 16 on the day. 10th place, of course, is still going to be Jack Drucker, and it looks like a large part of that top 10 we saw previous to the pit stop cycle and the caution remains as is. I think it's primarily that big 3 that you see at the head of the field here. Thomas Bressy remains in 3rd. He's now got his teammate Matthew Thunhorst to work with, and that'll be interesting to see, of course. Matthew Thunhorst up in the 4th place, and currently speaking, it looks like he's got a chance now to defend against Nick Tarbuck. With Tarbuck going to the inside, I think it'll be less defense and more watch what happens. "33 laps to go. Domination Intimidation Racing is now opposite to Thomas Bressy at JTM, and you'll see Bressy and Thunhorst are running 3rd and 5th. It'll be DIR 4th and 6th and 7th, because now Braxton Deweese has gotten himself there too. It looks like Braxton has gotten himself real comfortable in this 7th place, running just behind his teammates, and the team has gotten himself further up the ladder as the night's gone on. Braxton qualifying 12th was just outside the top 10, and he was from the very early points of this race one of the exceptions who got himself inside the top 10. He did so quick, And ever since that point, I think he's got himself the position and the capability to keep on fighting. But now he's on the outside. Hunter Madalenis goes deep and in. Hunter's going to look for a chance at as high as 6th place here. He'll go by 1. And now as he goes by Michael Stroll, it could be a 2 for 2 in just 1 lap on DIR teammates. And talk about total team control. But in this case, it's not a teammate who's in control, but it is a driver. And that, of course, is Madalenis. Hunter gets to the points. Now he's got himself up into the 6th place, and you got to imagine that with 32 laps to go, this is not going to be easy at all for the Madalenis car. He's been waiting, biding his time all race long for this opportunity. He qualified in 29th, so to see him up here now, it's a shocker, but of course, he's worked for it. Now, that'll be Nicholas Ward getting to the inside on pit road. He'll be scored 19th. Interesting to see him in. Not a lot of other drivers are committing to pit road yet, but we still have time to see if that ends up being everyone or if Ward is the anomaly and he's playing things safe. Cole Freilich, the final retiree so far on the day. Rest of the field, which is 42 drivers still going, they're on the circuit. It looks like we've only got those retirees in the form of Freilich, Cannon, Hamilton, McClendon, Sam Nieto, Adam Wood, and Paul Mikolajczyk. Everyone else has stayed on the circuit and stayed strong as the going's gotten rough. Coming across for 30 laps remaining, Ethan Lane leads the way. We'd like to thank our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations for providing continued coverage live on FTN. For more than 16 years now, iRacing has pioneered virtual simulation racing with the most realistic platform offered anywhere. From amateurs to professionals, iRacing is used to sharpen a driver's skills in any discipline. Be it stock cars, open wheel machines, endurance cars, dirt, anything, and all the above. With proud partnerships with NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, and the World of Outlaws, there's no better place to start your sim racing career than iRacing.com. Visit their website at iRacing.com today to learn more about how to register. And of course, with 30 laps to go, we'll be right back after this. You'll hear a message from our friends at iRacing, but stay tuned and grab your popcorn. The race for the win is up after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
28 laps remaining. Ethan Lane is in comfortable control. Everyone else, not so much. But it's not to say it's an open and shut race, but it's also not to say it's too competitive per se. A lot of single file once again. It looks like that has been the trend of the night so far. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's just the way it rains. It doesn't have to be the hyper-aggressive racing that we have seen in a lot of these times and a lot of these races as of late, but also in the same sense, we've seen drivers a lot calmer beforehand at other circuits. We're right in the middle, running at a high speed all throughout these laps. Yes, the tire wear is big, and we mentioned it before. Track temperature's gotten up to 94 degrees and has only increased as the night's gone on, as we predicted. Nevertheless, even though the drivers are now several seconds off of their fast times, you gotta realize it's Indianapolis. These guys are still hitting 190 down the straights before they hit the brakes. Just because there's a little bit less grip in the corners doesn't mean they are not flying, because they are really putting down pace and they are pedal to the metal. The checkered flag might not be in the air just yet, but there is a ways to go for the driver of the number 24, Bressie, to get back up in the podium. It looks like now his teammate Matthew Thunhorse has a better shot at top 3 honors. He's in 4th, but it's Nick Tarbuck third place. Nick Tarbuck, I gotta tell you this much. Of all the guys we've seen with DIR year in, year out, he might have the best shot at the title this season. Based on the way he set himself up in these opening 9 races, he is 7th in the championship standings. He leads his teammates in the points, and he finds himself right now 115 off of Thomas Bresci. But notably, he's only 8 points away from Ronnie Osmer, and only about 22 points off of Hunter Madalenis, who now runs behind him here. For Tarbuck, a top 5 in the regular season standings by end of the opening 20 races is not an impossibility. He is only right now, of course, 2 positions away and some 25 points out when you do the rough mathematics. He doesn't have himself, of course, a victory to speak of just yet, but he's a driver who has proven capable of victory in the past. I think that's one of the more important things, having that capability and drivers understanding what exactly he can do. If you've got that in you, you're going to show it as the race progresses. And of course, as the season progresses, these first 20 races of the season, this is our 9th of those opening 20, are the regular season. Championship race begins from our 21st race onward, and so a lot of time on the table here to put yourself in that right position. Qualifying as the 7th seed, not bad in the slightest, but of course, getting up to the top 5 is a real symbol of who has it and who doesn't. Tarbuck is 3rd, Lariah is 2nd, Ethan Lane is in 1st, with 25 laps to go and everyone else running single file behind. Tyler Hensley to the inside now. Looks like some defense on Vinny Tigner. And it's going to work out. Tigner not able to get up there as he comes through turns 3 and 4. Vinny still running about where he qualified. 18th to 19th. He's down officially 1 spot on the day, but it's really negligible differences between the beginning and the end of this race. And that next spot is right up for grabs in front of him. I think truthfully, that's just the way it's going to go. Up and down for some of these guys close to where they qualified. Same goes for Tyler Hensley now. Matter of fact, both Hensley and Tigner are now where they qualified, in 17th for Hensley and 18th for Tigner respectively. So they've found about where they've been all night long, even from the beginning of those opening 2 hot laps. Blake Gordon getting up now past Thomas Bresci. That's going to be a pass that gets him up into 5th. Bresci getting some pressure now from Michael Stroll. Another DIR driver on the rise. Watch out for the AC Delco Chevrolet and see what he can do. And a lot of focus now for these drivers on using the draft well. Everyone is together in these front-running packs. You don't want to burn yourself out. Likewise, I don't think you want to push yourself too hard. And doing both those things at once, battling your race, doing neither of which, pushing yourself less or so, not burning your tire, could help out in that long term. With 23 to go, the final stretch is upon us. And of course, for those of you watching live on FTN now, coming toward the tail end, Ethan Lane is your leading man, and he's looking to finish the job. If you've enjoyed tonight's coverage so far, make sure to leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. We're about to crank it up now with 22 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at Whiplash SimCams. They've been with us since the beginning of the year, and they've done a wonderful job in bringing the action to us with the newest and most up-to-date cameras on the iRacing market. Visit Whiplash SimCams Discord server for free trial cameras for broadcasters of all experience levels. Car and track packages cost $5 a piece with no licensing fee. Check them out today at Whiplash SimCams, as with 22 laps to go, we are about to crank it up from the Brickyard. "18 laps remaining, starting to see drivers head down a pit road, but a lot of your leading men have chosen not to. Gotta find out though and see who's up next on that calendar, because it looks like Hunter Madalenas of note has gone down and in. He finds himself now running 33rd, the lowest he's been all night long, and that's because he's on new rubber and many of these drivers are now making their way in. Might have just noticed, Tarbuck is coming through, and his teammate in Chad Mikas, as is Rob Ackley. It looks like it's team decision-making all together now as the three get on their way. And that means that the final pit cycle is just ahead of us now, and it looks like it is in full effect. 17 to go that time by. Ethan Lane getting across the line and now getting moved up the circuit by the lapper in Matt Press. Press, being faster enough, just got through. And now you'll see Sebastian Miller make his way. Miller getting himself right by. That's the number 83 machine. Both lappers there, not in contention in the slightest with Lane. Again, notice Ethan has an 8-second race lead. He could really go in whenever he would like, and it looks like this time by is not the time. Ethan under full dictatorship of the strategy call. He's waiting, and I think that's going to be one of the wiser moves now, just to let it all play out. Vinny Tigner's going to head in this time through from 8th on the board. That's about the highest spot he's running all day long, and it looks like benefiting significantly from, of course, how this night has progressed. With long running and a little bit of alternate strategy in mind, it looks like now the driver of the number 12, Tigner, has a shot. If a yellow flag were to come out in that moment, he might have been able to save himself and get further position up. Now 4 tires and fuel for the 12 machine, 16 laps to go, as Lane now is still on the track. Gotta watch out and see what happens, and it looks like the time is now. It's gonna be Ethan Lane dropping in, and it is the number 6 with the move on a pit road. Lane makes his way, and all of a sudden, that's going to leave Thomas Bressi with the race lead. The 24, for the first time all night long, is up in front, and for a brief period anyway, he will be uncontested at the points. Bressi, about a half second off now, Don Stevenson. Elliott Henderson, 14th up to 3rd. 2nd and 4th for Ethan Lane. Tyler Hensley, 17th to 5th. 8th to 6th for Justin Morton. And how about this new big mover on the day? This might be temporary, but we got to talk about it while it matters. Joe Dinsmore has gone from 34th up to 8th. And across the line, he'll be scored 7th if he hangs on to his position. Talk about gains. That is up 27 on the day for the number 95, and it will be the biggest mover of anyone in the field, even surpassing that of Hunter Madalenas. He'll stay across the track this time by, up and in front, while Elliott Henderson concedes. Elliott makes it in. It'll be Tyler Hensley instead on top, with now 14 laps remaining, 87 laps in out of 100. Tyler now getting himself up in front for the first time today. That's the number 5. Been in the mid-pack for the majority of the night, and he'll also have with him Justin Morton. Morton back in front, but not in the best of circumstances here. Just there by virtue, of course, of everyone coming together down to pit road. But he'll get a chance at least for one last time to lead a lap and maybe establish a bonus point or two as a result. Staying P2, Justin Morton is. Joe Dinsmore, after making such great moves to get up to the front of the field, now has to concede, relinquish his positions. Hopefully, there's a better opportunity for him to maintain what he has. But right now, the top 10 looks to be unfortunately out of the picture. But as Dinsmore makes it in, Justin Morton now still second place, 0.6 of a second, the difference maker. Tyler Hensley advantageous. Gael Brooks has now scored 35th to 5th. That's a gain of 30 positions, tentatively speaking. 13 laps to go. Might not last the whole night, and of course might not last the rest of the way, but Brooks getting his time in the sun, and I'll say it's pretty valuable time at that. Jacob Fife in 4th place here, about 1.6 seconds off. Fife today qualified 28th, and although usually he's able to pull some miracles with an altered strategy, it looks like today not so much. He's been really out of the limelight, and if he's far out by the 3/4 marker, that's usually about the time where it seems all but impossible for the Jacob Fife machine to get back up there, and that's just sometimes how it goes. It's as simple as that, and tonight that looks to be more the same for Jacob Fife. Room to improve, room to make moves, and of course progress better for the rest of the season. But Fife, with some strong races so far on the calendar, 18th place in the standings. A night like this where he finishes in 4th would boost him, but if he falls back to where he's been running, about the upper 20s, it really wouldn't do all too much for him, and it looks like it's more likely going to go the way of the latter than the former, and he's going to end up falling down that points position ladder. Hensley, for 11 laps to go, welcome to lap 90. And even if it doesn't end up being the permanent case for this number 5, Tyler Hensley is absolutely shoving right now at the head of the field. And he's not going to give up nor give in until the checkered flag. Looking at those on that new strategy, of course, with that new rubber, it looks like Ethan Lane is chasing after Hunter Madalenis right now. Madalenis went down to pit road earlier, so he has a little bit older rubber, and that means that while he's got track position, it might not last the whole way. That time by 54.238 for Madalenis, all the while it was a 52.67 for Ethan Lane. And I think now, with Lane being more than a second quicker per lap, if the holdouts make it in, this is the battle for the race victory. Watch the left side of your screen and you'll see last pit lap will tell the story. For everyone right now, even at the front of the field, is a little bit of a difference. 61 was the last pit lap for Tyler Hensley. All those in the top 10, based on what we're seeing, will have to go into pit road. Unless saving their tires perfectly is the way to go about it, I don't believe we're going to see these guys on the 60-lap runs, or rather 40-plus from lap 60, make it the whole distance. And Hunter Madalenis will be the first of which with a chance to hold on. But this is the battle now for what's the net race lead. Ethan Lane catching up now to that 0-7. And Ethan again will not be denied. He'll take a look to the inside. Madalenis gets in the wall and gives up the spot all by himself. Lane up to 11th with 10 laps to go. 10 more drivers as holdouts as we now enter the single digits. 9 to go now. The fate of this race is no longer entirely in Ethan Lane's hands, and I'm not sure if he's a fan of that or not, but for the time being, that is the actual fact. The driver now, that number 5, Tyler Hensley, he's got to look at it like this. If there's anything he can do, and it doesn't look like we can confirm it from here, he's riding as if he's got a shot. He's kept himself out on the circuit, and it looks like he will not relinquish his positions unless he's absolutely forced to. He's looking for a miracle. He might get one, he might not. It's not a guarantee just yet. 9 to go this time by. Coming across the stripe, it will be 8 laps remaining. And it looks like with Hensley still leading Jared Davis, these guys will try to hold on and make it happen. Lane is about 11 seconds back now. One driver just went in. Even still, Ethan finding himself getting closer, and even closer still. Tyler Hensley, number 5, 17th up to first. Jared Davis, 24th up to second. A little bit of close contact racing there with Steve Durham. And it looks like Durham gets away, but that could have been a lot worse as Steve gets through. Hensley is still out on the track. No signal he's going in yet. And that's the way it remains. The holdouts remain strong. 7 laps to go. Lane across the line will be less than 10 seconds away. The gap is now 8.7. Ethan has the pace to make it. Even now, as he's got multiple drivers staying on the circuit, he is faster by clear amounts. 55.374 that time by 53.7 for Lane. 2 seconds a lap faster. That's the differentiator, and it would be a winning differentiator for the number 6. He just has to keep on going, and he'll make it all the way. That's it. Of course, sounds simple, but it looks like, of course, for Tyler Hensley, he's getting pressured even now by the lappers. There's Steve Durham right around on the inside. Hensley goes down low. And it's going to be toe-to-toe across the stripe. Jared Davis stays right behind Tyler Hensley. It looks like right now these two drivers are still sticking together. Lane is now within 6 seconds. That's the closest he's been throughout the last portion of this run. 6 to go. Not quite sure if it's going to happen. Of course, it might be all about the skeptical racing up ahead. Ethan Lane right now has no concerns as to whether or not he can make it. He knows he's got that stuff in him to go the distance. 6 laps to go is going to come across the 5 this time by, and we've already passed lap number 95. The home stretch is alive and well. Across the line again. Hensley brings us to lap number 96. Jacob Fife 3rd, Cody Smith 4th, Ronnie Osmer 5th, Morton, Wetmore, and Brooks serve as the last line of defense. Brooks up high, Lane quickly disposes of him. That's 1. Up next, it'll be Tom Wetmore. Wetmore with defense there from Daniel Foss. Nothing comes of it. Now, side by side, that's 2. Ethan Lane needs to make up a total now of 6 more positions. He's got to make up 8 in the final 6 laps. He's made up 2 so far, but with 4 laps to go, it won't be easy. Watch him try to pick apart the field. That's his 3rd pass. Osmer would be his 4th. Ronnie's up next in the 55. To his back bumper. You've got passes 4, 5, and 6 just ahead. That's Osmer, Fife, and Smith all running with each other here. Blocked side by side. Fife up top. He's a lot slower. Lane gets that 4th pass. Now he's going for the 5th to the inside of Ronnie Osmer. He's there. Lane for 4th. 7.5 miles, 3 laps, 3 spots to gain. Lane is still on the move. Jared Davis gets the race lead. And he gets it now over Tyler Hensley. The Next Level Racing Chevrolet serves perhaps as the last bastion of defense for the guys on old tire here, and he won't held up all too well. Watch that. Cody Smith out of the way. Lane up to 3rd. Tyler Hensley 2nd. Jared Davis first. This is the difference maker. The 19 of Davis has now gotten himself the race lead for the first time today, and he is looking for victory. And it looks like, by all accounts, he could get there. But with Ethan Lane so much faster, it won't be easy. Coming across the line for 5 miles, 2 laps to go. Lane is behind. Hensley could be the defensive driver now, but the 19 of Davis can't afford to look back. 2 to go. Next time by his official. Lane sends it deep for second. He will get there. Hensley's low. No longer. He'll have to let the bottom groove go. Now, Lane has only one more spot he can make up, and he's getting right to it. Ethan coming down the back straightaway is significantly quicker than Jared Davis. Davis would have to defend for a full lap. He might not be able to make it through this turn. Into 3. Davis gets washed up high. Can't defend in the slightest. Here comes Ethan Lane. Lane to the inside of the circuit. He's got the top spot. 1 lap to go. Davis gives it up early. Hensley can't quite get there either. Now it's only 2.5 miles to bring it to victory. As the battle for second fizzles out, Ethan Lane has done it once again. Shades of his first ever Integrity Racing League win. He'll take it from half a track back at a 2.5 mile circuit and bring it up to the race lead. Tonight, nobody on Lane's level. He qualified in second, led the majority of the opening half, and only fell back for a strategy call. While the holdouts maintained up and in front, Davis will get his second. Tyler Hensley will get a career best third. It's all about the number 6 tonight. Ethan Lane coming through the final turn of 4 here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ethan Lane getting redemption. He will kiss the bricks on this Monday night. Lane collects the checkered flag from the Brickyard. A dramatic run to the end sees Lane your winner, Jared Davis second, and Tyler Hensley in his return season a career best 3rd place. Lane, welcome back to victory. And once again, he is looking strong. Watch out now for Ethan, as he's gotten himself a checkered flag, long awaited. It is his second of the season, and while he hasn't been all too dominant just yet, a win like that can really rejuvenate his season. 35th in points, with now 2 wins. Checkers are wreckers sometimes for Lane, but tonight he comes out on the better side of those 2. And now to celebrate. Ethan Lane, your race winner. Let's run through your order for tonight from top to bottom. As Lane collects the checkered flag, he will do so over Jared Davis and Tyler Hensley, finishing in 3rd. Lane led a race-high 69 laps on the day, and overall what was a nice performance from the beginning of this one to the very end. 4th place on the day, Cody Smith. Ronnie Osmer goes 5th, with Nick Tarbuck then 6th place. 7th place being Jacob Fife. 8th being Tom Wetmore, Gael Brooks being 9th, and Michael Araya rounding out then the top 10. You'll have 11th place then. That's going to be going to Justin Morton, with Matthew Thunhorst in 12th. 13th place then being Hunter Madalenis, and Jack Drucker being 14th place. P15 on the day. Immediately thereafter will be Thomas Bresci. He ends up falling behind a majority of his teammates in the JTM operation, with 16th then being DJ Stagner. Boomer Logan 17th, Chad Michelson 18th, and then Michael Stroll 19th place. That press rounds at the top 20, and then from 20th to 30th, you got Ryan Potter, Blake Gordon, Don Stevenson, Braxton DeWeese, Rob Ackley, Casey Shue, Vinny Tigner, Elliot Henderson, Sebastian Miller, and Joe Dinsmore. 31st place will be Nicholas Ward with Jake Miller 32nd, Josh Chrisman in 33rd, Brandon Bernhardt in 34th, Gavin Fitzgerald 35th, Josh Gallagher P36th, and Kyle Cooper 37th. P38 is Steve Durham with Daniel Foss 39th, and Brian McFerrin rounding out the top 40. Final drivers on the order as follows, with Cal Filarski, Will Riker, Cole Freilich, and Blake Kaplan, with Brent McClendon, Andrew Hamilton, Sam Nieto, Adam Wood, and Paul Mikolajczyk finishing the job tonight. All 49 starters. And Ethan Lane, for the second time this season, returns to victory lane. Let's get a word now, of course, first with your race winner. Unfortunately, again, second place Jared Davis has been impossible to contact. He is nowhere to be found on our communications server, which means, again, we will not be hearing from him for P2. But we can guarantee your race winner, who had a dramatic run up the ladder to take the race lead, coming toward the white flag. Ethan Lane, welcome back to victory lane. Of course, it's your second of the season, and you have to claw for it until the very end today.
Yeah, same type of thing at Pocono. Turned into a fuel mileage race for some people, and I knew what I had to do again today, and that we did it. We pushed that second to last run, built a gap, and then waited 2 or 3 laps longer than everyone else, and just absolutely went on a tear those last 15 laps.
It was all about those final moments. Some drivers going for a holdout strategy. You had yourself far further behind because you took that final pit stop and you ripped through the field, making up more than 10 seconds and 8 positions in the final 6 laps. How was it for you on board, of course, knowing it was winner to go home there?
Oh, we were definitely hustling the car. I do think it was more than 10 seconds at one point. I think at one point we were back like 25, 30. And with all the tires work here, those first 10 laps, you can gain 3 to 3.5 seconds each lap. And I think that's what helped because we didn't have anything else in the tires. Once we took the lead, we were having to push so hard those last 15 laps. But yeah, no, shout out to everyone who made it on fuel. That was really impressive on them. I think I was the only one able to make it back to where we were running. Tarabuck did good. I think he just pitted a little bit too early.
And it looks like the difference maker, that time to go down a pit road. Only one caution today in 250 miles. A lot of green flag strategy. How do you think that impacted the way you went about your pit road racing?
Oh, it was interesting. I knew it was going to kind of be a fuel mileage race. We were going to have to save at least 1 lap of fuel in one of the stints, and we didn't do it the first run. And then we started doing it in the second run, and even after 15 laps, we were able to start pulling away while clutching it at the 2 marker on each end of the track. And just overall, it was a fun set. You had points where it did get tight, but it was also free enough to where you could slide the rears if you wanted to.
And back to victory lane, second time this season. Although you don't find yourself all too high in the point standings, chasing those checkered flags has brought you success once again. We're taking a break, and then we'll find ourselves back in 2 Mondays' time at Talladega. Ever the unpredictable track. How do you feel about another dance at a superspeedway?
It's going to be interesting for sure. Haven't ran a superspeedway race in these cars in a long time, so we'll see how it goes. I don't know quite what our strategy is going to be like in 2 weeks, but I look forward to it.
Ethan Lane making the run of a lifetime to get back up to the lead for victory lane in the Brickyard. Any final comments you'd like to add? The floor is yours.
Just thank you for putting these broadcasts on, David. Everyone in particular, they do a great job. It's not easy to run this racetrack with just one caution with this many cars, and to do it in a fashion to where everyone was racing really hard. Look forward to tomorrow, one of my favorite tracks in Bristol for the Octane Series. So hopefully we can go back to back in the same week.
Ethan Lane, victory lane, of course, and now looking for a chance to go for 2 consecutive races, perhaps, with tomorrow on the horizon. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
With Ethan on the move, that's your first place finisher, of course. Jared Davis again, unavailable for comment. 24th up to second. He made up 22 on the day as one of your hardest chargers on the night. Lastly, though, we'll speak to a driver who's coming back after a full season of hiatus. For the 3rd consecutive week, we can guarantee a career best finish out of at least one driver on the podium. And in this case, it's the number 5 team. Tyler Hensley, how about the strategy call to pull through for your first podium in the Ignite Series, no less?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I was flirting right on the line of going to make it, not going to make it the whole last run, but just barely made it. Ran out at the line.
Just enough to get yourself there. The hold-down strategy plays out well. It was some 39 laps on that strategy. You ran one of the longest stints of anyone on track. Could you first walk us through how aggressive you were saving? Because I'm sure it was a challenge inside the cockpit.
It was. It was really tough. So, when we first got back going there wasn't really a hole to hide. So that made saving really hard. So you kind of just had to go with everybody around you there the first, 4 to 6 laps of that run, and then really, really buckle down and save hard, backing up corner entry on all 4. So.
And tonight, only, of course, Ethan Lane getting through on the new tire call. Now, we saw tonight qualifying in the mid-teens. Found yourself there for the majority of the day. One caution, a lot of long, full-on strategy, and it made everything all the more challenging for the majority of the field. But you held on well and made gains as the race progressed. We've seen that from you so far. You think these less caution-filled races have helped out in how you performed?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I definitely like it when the field gets strung out and you can kind of play with, just saving your stuff and really taking care of your equipment and not having to be forced in the pocket of running as hard as everybody else around you is to maintain or even lose ground at times. So it definitely helps me, and it plays into my hands a little bit more when things do stretch out. I do like the longer races just for that. Very impressed, very happy with everybody tonight. Didn't have a bunch of people door banging or anything like that. So it was a good night.
Tyler Hensley, of course, a great night for the 5 team as well. 3rd place on the day here from the Brickyard. If you have any final comments you'd like to leave for the audience with before we head to Talladega, we would love to hear it.
Yeah, man, I just want to thank all the JTM guys, and hopefully Lady Luck is going to turn around for me, and this is the start, and maybe I'll be up here with you again next week.
Tyler Hensley, big momentum after a strong race here in Indianapolis. Thank you again for stopping by.
Thanks, David.
And so you've heard from your finishers, both 3rd and 1st. Again, Jared Davis has found himself remarkably hard to track, and he is again unavailable for comment. Nevertheless, it will be tonight. 3rd place, Tyler Hensley. 2nd place, Jared Davis, and your winning man, Ethan Lane, in the number 6. Lane gets the job done, leads nearly 70 laps on the day, and collects his 2nd victory of the season. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Tomorrow we go racing from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. It's going to be the track, of course, well known as the last great coliseum, to end the first leg of the Integrity Racing League schedule. We'll be back, of course, in 2 Mondays' time at the Talladega SuperSpeedway. That is April 28th. Make sure to tune in. It will be can't miss action as we go back at it from, of course, the biggest oval on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. With that said, you've been watching coverage live on FTN of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Integrity Ignite Series Brickyard 250, Race 9 of the 2025 calendar. I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Congratulations to Ethan Lane for collecting his 2nd victory on the season. We hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage and can't wait to have you back tomorrow for the Octane Series at Bristol and April 28th for the Ignite Series at Talladega. We hope you enjoy the action and we hope you have a fantastic night.